Supply chain management. Supply chain management is the management of the flow of goods and services and includes all processes that transform raw materials into final products. It involves the active streamlining of a business supply-side activities to maximize customer value and gain a competitive advantage in the marketplace. Again, supply chains cover everything from production to product development to the information systems needed to direct these undertakings. Typically, supply chain management attempts to centrally control or link the production, shipment, and distribution of a product. By managing the supply chain, companies can cut excess costs and deliver products to the consumer faster. This is done by keeping tighter control of internal inventories, internal production, distribution, sales, and inventories of the company vendors. The following are some perks as to why supply chain management is important. Improve financial position. First, supply chain increases profit leverage. They help control and reduce supply chain costs. This can result in dramatic increases in firm profits. Second, supply chain decreases fixed assets, such as plants, warehouses, and transportation vehicles in the supply chain. Lastly, supply chain increases cash flows because they speed up product flows to customers. Reduce operating costs. Supply chain decreases purchasing costs. Retailers depend on supply chains to quickly deliver expensive products to avoid holding costly inventories in stores any longer than necessary. It decreases production costs. Manufacturers depend on supply chains to reliably deliver materials to assembly plants, to avoid material shortages that could shut down production. And lastly, it decreases total supply chain cost. Manufacturers and retailers depend on supply chain managers to design networks that would meet customer service goals at the least total costs. Boost customer service. This is the most important perk of all because having to satisfy the customer leads them to being a loyal customer. Customers expect the right or correct product assortment and quantity to be delivered. Customers expect product to be available at the right location with the right delivery time and right after-sales support. The make or buy decision involves whether to manufacture a product in-house or to purchase it from a third party. The outcome of this analysis should be a decision that maximizes the long-term financial outcome for the company. There are some factors to consider when making this decision, such as cost, quality, reliability, control, and capacity. But the most important are the cost, quality, delivery speed, and suppliers' flexibility. Outsourcing can have a significant impact. It can reduce overheads, bring fresh expertise to your business, and free up your time for innovation and other vital tasks. We can prescribe that a firm can outsource all their items if they do not fit one of the following three categories. Number 1. The item is critical to the success of the product, including customer perception of important product attributes. Number 2. The item requires specialized design and manufacturing skills or equipment, and the number of capable and reliable suppliers is extremely limited. And number 3, the item fits well within the firm's core competencies or within those the firm must develop to fulfill future plans. Seek sourcing strategies. Many suppliers. This is commonly used for commodity products where suppliers compete with one another to raise the highest bid. Also, the supplier is responsible for technology, expertise, forecasting, cost, quality, and delivery of the products. Few suppliers. The buyer forms long-term relationship with fewer suppliers and the cost of changing suppliers is huge. These suppliers are more willing to participate in just-in-time programs and contribute design and technological expertise. Vertical integration. They outsource from a supplier with the same level of production and same industry. This is to strengthen their supply chain, reduce production costs, capture upstream or downstream profits, or access new distribution channels. Though this is risky in industries with rapid technological change. Joint ventures. Companies form a formal collaboration which can enhance skills, secure the supply, and reduce costs. They cooperate without diluting their brand or conceding competitive advantage. Kiretsu networks. Kiretsu is a Japanese term referring to a business network made up of different companies that have close relationships and sometimes take small equity stakes of each other, all the while remaining operationally independent. Virtual companies rely on the variety of supplier relationships to provide services in demand and known as hollow corporation or network. They have fluid organizational boundaries that allow the creation of unique enterprises to meet changing market demands. Risk has always been part of the supply chain. It's a reality inside and outside the four walls of any organization. Here are some 5 major risk areas which can disrupt the flow of the supply chain: price, quality, delivery, legal, and reputation. A supply base is defined as the portion of the supply network that is actively managed by the buying company. The buying company, referred to as a focal company, manages the suppliers in the supply base through contracts and purchasing of parts, materials, and services. To facilitate better management of the supply base, we observe complexity as the key area of managerial consideration and apply the literature on complexity to the supply base. Supply-based complexity is conceptualized in 3 dimensions. Number 1, the number of suppliers in the supply base. Number 2, the degree of differentiation among these suppliers. And number 3, the level of interrelationships among suppliers. Logistics management is a supply chain management component that is used to meet customer demands through the planning, control, and implementation of the effective movement and storage of related information, goods, and services from origin to destination. Logistics management helps companies reduce expenses and enhance customer service. Logistics management process begins with raw materials accumulation to the final stage of delivering goods to the destination. Logistic management involves numerous elements, including selecting appropriate vendors with the ability to provide transportation facilities, choosing the most effective routes for transportation, discovering the most competent delivery method, and using software and IT resources to proficiently handle related processes. Logistics management involves a lot of planning. The more steps, the better. By considering every stage of the product, its distribution and the return of materials and supplies, you're more likely to increase efficiencies and increase revenues. The larger the operation, the more the complex and difficult the logistic management. Therefore, the more you need a strong logistic management plan. In order to be prepared and have the best plan possible, the following are some tips to follow. 1. Have a strong plan. 2. Make a plan B. 3. Hire a manager. 4. Automate. 5. Learn from mistakes.